Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews, and today we're gonna do something different. I basically recorded a bunch of videos reacting to different reviews of the Atomic Bent 100. The problem with that is that I feel like maybe I was beating a dead horse. I was counting them and I'm like, oh my god, that's 5 videos in a row on the same ski. And for you guys, the viewers, that might get a little old. So today, I'm recording something kind of last minute to add some spice, add some change in there so that you guys aren't just watching the same skis over and over and over. So today we're going to talk about the Volkl M6 Mantra. If you remember back when I did my review of them, I gave them an 8 out of 10. I really liked the skis. I thought they did a nice job, not only kind of cutting through some of the more choppy snow, but they also carved pretty well, but they were nice and wide and they kind of floated through the powder and the trees well. I thought that that was a really diverse ski, and while still being a wide kind of ski for the trees or off the, off the groomer trails, it's still carved. It kind of did both well, be wide enough to go off the trail, but also stable enough that you could load a turn and carve. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really nice ski. I do remember it kind of having the bite of the turn be in the middle. So like the Atomics are more towards the tip, head kind of gives you more of the energy in the ski and the tail. I thought Volkl Mantras were kind of in the middle, maybe just about 6 inches from the middle of the ski. So that was my assessment. I thought they were nice skis. Today we are going to react to ski essentials. And yeah, I have not watched this video before, so we'll kind of see what they thought and how that compared to my review. All right, here we go.
Hey skiers, it's Bob from skiessentials.com. Welcome to our 2023 ski test. Today we got a Volkl Mantra M6. Structurally, this is the same ski that we got with these upgrades last year. We had a little bit of a graphics refresh, but it's still the same great ski. You know, that all-mountain weapon, 96 millimeters underfoot, that is really kind of the bread and butter of this high-performance all-mountain category. Advanced.
Okay, this skiing is okay. It's a little kind of like stiff in the upper body. They're really relying on those pole plants. But that being said, this is pretty typical with what you see skiing in the East Coast trees. See how close these trees are together? You have to really plan out your turns. And these Volkls look like they're pretty long. I would say just from eyeballing it, 175 to a 188, somewhere in there. I mean, that's a big range. It's probably closer to like 180. And when you've got to ski that long in the woods like this, it's not like the West Coast. You really got to pole plant and get those little quick turns in. This person looks a little bit uncomfortable, but they may be skiing on a new ski that they've never skied before, and they're just kind of trying to use those pole plants to set the pace and get comfortable. Again, I always love how Bob explains that this is just a graphics refresh and not an actual ski change, which is really nice for consumers. But when people talk about the woods and the West Coast versus the East Coast, this is the East Coast. I mean, they call this a glade, and it's very specific. It's like trees are super close together, and you really got to be watching your line.
Advanced and expert skiers who know how to turn a ski are really going to love the performance out of this. For 96 millimeters underfoot, we kind of talk about it as one of the better carving skis at that width, and a lot of that has to do with the shape and the construction.
I would agree with that. I think that's exactly what I said. It's like, for being so wide, it carves really well, and probably better than it even has to. A lot of people are willing to buy 2 sets of skis, and I think Volkl did a nice job saying, we're gonna have a ski that can go off trail, that'll be wide enough, but it's also gonna be able to carve. Yeah, it can feel different. If you're not used to Volkls, they have a very specific feel where you almost have to change kind of your hip placement to get into the perfect turn position because of where the energy comes out on the ski. But again, it's kind of a feel thing, but it's definitely, I noticed that having skied on several pairs of Volkls, they all kind of have that consistent feel. So you get used to it, but if it feels weird when you first demo it, usually there's a reason.
So starting at that waist width, it's on the wide side, but the build really helps it get that torsional stiffness and control that a lot of people that know how to use a ski will be able to.
God, they're skiing in the woods like that. Like, I don't like being that close together. It stresses me out. I watch these like ski crash videos and it's always the same thing. It's like, this could have been so easily avoided if you guys just spread out a little bit. But anyway, Let's watch, actually, I really want to watch this groomer skiing.
You know, put in their power and really get the...
Yeah, that's a beautiful turn. That's a nice clean turn. Yeah, and they do carve well. They load up the turn, they give you kind of all your energy back. Yeah, they can feel a little chunky. I mean, they're a wide ski, but I don't know. I mean, just being honest with you of all like the pluses and the drawbacks.
Get the performance out of this thing. Built with a multi-layer wood core, we get Volkl's tailored Titanal frame, as well as tailored carbon tips. So 2 sheets of metal in this thing. The upper laminate is a frame, so around the back here, there's a little break, and then underfoot, another break, and then a frame in the shovel here. So that means that whenever you put this thing on edge, the first thing that's going to hit the snow is metal, and that gives it the precision. And then at the end...
Okay, Volkl has a bad habit of this. They all love throwing in these kind of little gimmicks that are, oh, this is going to change the game for skis. I remember back with the Race Tigers, they had kind of that more aggressive metal. Then they transitioned and they had those skis with the dampeners, the metal like bumpers on them. This may very well be innovative, but like you guys have had so many gimmicks along the way, it's hard to tell the difference. But that being said, I did feel like there was some pretty good precision with starting the turn, but it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't more precise than anything else out there. It just felt like a really like stable platform. Yeah, I don't even know, maybe, in my opinion, maybe precision's the wrong word. That construction just made them feel really stable and solid once you kind of got them to the apex, because they made a nice platform to load.
The last thing that hits the snow, again, full metal over the edge, so you get a ton of power out of the turn. Underfoot, we get that metal plate on top, so that really kind of implements the energy transfer. Each and every movement that you put into your boot gets put through your binding and into the ski.
What's the difference between that and any other ski? This is the problem. They get a little in the woods with ski construction, in my opinion, and like skiing is such a precise sport that I'd really love to hear how it feels in the foot. I get that you kind of have to establish that early on. But every once in a while with like stuff like this, I'm like, Volkl may have very well done that in their build or may have told you they did that, but like I don't feel like they're especially more responsive than anything else out there. Just my opinion. This is getting a little bit in the woods more than anything I actually felt on snow.
Really direct transfer of energy on this thing for sure. Tailored carbon tips, they're able to kind of fine tune the torsional stiffness of the shovel of the ski. So in the new tailored Titanal frame, it goes from wide to narrow right about here. So in order to boost that stiffness without adding weight, they put in these carbon stringers, and that really makes the shovel of the ski more precise while keeping the swing weight down. So it's a real...
Okay, see, keep saying this word precise. I don't know. I'm not sure that precise is the word that I would use. I mean, these are pretty big chunky skis, and I didn't feel like they were particularly precise. When I think precise, I think like responsive. I would say that these, a lot of like the things he's saying to me that I felt were, they felt really stable. Like they didn't feel like they were gonna twitch or overturn or anything. Maybe that's what he means by precise, like it's almost like having a steady hand, but I felt like the skis felt just like very stable in the turn. And you know, you kind of knew exactly what you're gonna get out of them, and it was really easy to adapt to them because of that. Whereas like something like a head ski or a fisher, you have to get really used to, because like fishers initiate super easily and heads kind of give you the energy in the back of the turn, right? If you're not used to it, you have to kind of adjust. Whereas the Volkls are very, very consistent, and they're gonna kind of do everything you tell them to do. That could be good or bad depending on what your ski style is and what you like.
Really nice thing that they've done with these tailored tips, and we see it in other skis in Volkl's line as well, so pretty proven technology there. On the scale here, just over 2,086 grams in this 177.
I believe that. Those skis felt heavy to me too. They just like, in the woods they felt okay, but you gotta like be really thoughtful about your turns, because like the edge to edge time can feel a little sluggish depending on what the snow conditions are. And the East Coast probably feels great, like because you've got that underlying stiffness that you want to be able to cut through, or just be able to stop on, whatever, however you want to phrase it. Whereas in the West, I don't know, they can be, like if I was in really light fluffy snow, that extra weight might be a detriment. I took them out for spring skiing where it was still like newish snow, but at the end of the day it would get kind of heavier or stickier, and I felt like the M6 Mantra was the perfect ski for that because it really kind of was able to cut through and not get really bogged down by that sticky snow.
So we're definitely over that 2,000 gram threshold, putting this into the heavier side of the spectrum in terms of this category, but still with those tailored carbon tips and the lack of metal kind of in the center part of the ski here, we do see a reasonable amount of swing weight, a lighter swing weight, kind of helping people get more energy into the ski while keeping it damp and super stable. It does have appropriate amount of rocker. It's not a super rockered ski or terribly playful in the soft snow. Definitely likes to plow through and over things rather than dance upon.
Yeah, but I think that was a good design choice because it's what kind of, in my mind, what separates the M6 Mantra from other skis. And maybe you'll talk about this in a second, but I felt like it also had a pretty healthy amount of camber as well. But yeah, everything Bob's saying is like very accurate. I'd love to see a little more skiing. It's like only like a 4-minute video. I'd like to see more skiing because the skiing I did see carving looked great. But who knows, you lose footage and whatnot sometimes.
Snow, like some other mid-90s skis, not a ton of splay in the tail here. So definitely more towards that all-mountain side of the spectrum, and just a fantastic carver for this width. As always, this Mantra is really the benchmark of, that wider all-mountain category. So
yeah, I would agree with that. It's very stable, it cuts through most things, it carves well, it can go in the woods with its width. I would absolutely agree with Bob here. The nice thing with these M6 Mantras is, I hate to talk about this, but like if you only had one pair of skis and you got this in like, the 90, it's in that 90 range of underfoot, this wouldn't be the worst ski to have if you only had one pair of skis. It wouldn't be my first choice just based on my biases with liking the atomic turn style, but I used to ski on Volkls and I liked them back then. So it's kind of a preference thing. But if you like more of a stable ski that kind of has the bite in the middle of the ski rather than at the tip, this would be a great one, I don't know. It's not a one ski quiver because it doesn't do everything, but if you only could, if you're only going to be able to have one pair of skis for the year, which is the reality. I mean, I only had one pair of skis for the last 3 years, okay? If that's where you're at, this is a pretty good option, I would say, honestly. It's gonna allow you to access the trees and the woods and the snow, but it's also going to allow you to carve in a really healthy way, and it's gonna allow you to connect those two. When you're going from the groomers to the woods to the powder, it's got a really healthy balance. And if I was on the East Coast, this would be a good ski to have, honestly. It cuts through things well, it feels stable on the firmer snow. I wouldn't be disappointed if this was a ski that I, had to use on the East Coast for a week. So anyway, for my East Coast viewers, something to consider if you get a chance to try these.
So it carries through to 2023 as well. But that's it. Check out this Volkl Mantra M6 at skiessentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.
All right, Bob, you get 2 thumbs up for this review. This was excellent. I would say that you did a really great analysis of it. I think you could have talked a little bit more about who this ski is good for, like I kind of just mentioned. I also would have loved to see more skiing, but I get it. Some days when you're demoing, you don't get great footage or something doesn't look right. Better not to use it. Overall, his analysis was right on it. Everything he was talking about was parallel with what I felt on the snow. Yeah, I think these are nice skis. I think that they're definitely worth trying. I think they really I know I know I ripped on someone else for using this term. I think these are a very diverse ski, and they're a very well-rounded ski, and they just create a lot of overall value. So I gave these an 8 out of 10 last winter, and I think that still holds true today. These are nice skis. So that concludes this video. Yeah, overall, as to be expected from Ski Essentials, great review. A couple things I would have added in there, I know these skis aren't the most exciting thing, they're not you know, a Fisher Ranger or an Atomic Maverick or a Salomon QST where they're doing something really new and flashy. But I think if you like this kind of ski, this is a really, really attractive ski to people that like the ski style, who are looking for something stable. And especially for East Coast skiers, I think this is a really nice ski. So, you know, it might not be the flashiest thing out there, but don't overlook it. The Volkl M6 Mantras are nice. But anyway, that concludes this video. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. You can ring the bell if you want to get notifications as soon as my content comes out. And as always, just thanks for watching. I really like making this kind of content, and everyone's been super nice in the comments, so thank you so much, everybody. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.